Hari Om. So we are at the end of the third chapter, which we will finish today. And the last topic that Bhagwan has been covering for the past few shlokas is the desire or kama, because Arjuna asks, what is it that makes a human commit sin, pap? And Bhagwan says, kama esha, krodha esha. Desire and anger is what makes us do wrong things. And then we had heard how this clouds our wisdom, this desire, and makes us continuously go after things we desire, because it is like fire. The more you feed it, the more it grows. So same with the desire, more we feed it, dushpurena analena cha. So now Bhagwan had told us that where does this desire reside? We had heard last week, it in the sense organs, we have desire for objects. We want to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. In the mind, where I get likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. And then finally in the intellect, where it judges and conditions and then forces the mind and senses to go out into the world, the intellect that is not well guided by the scriptures. So now in the end, last three shlokas, Bhagwan will tell us how to finally completely reduce or destroy this desire. How to destroy it, that's what Bhagwan will tell us. So chapter 3, shloka number 41. Tasmat tvam indriyan yadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Together. Tasmat tvam indriyan yadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Vinay, can I have the water bottle, please? Thank you. Throat is a little dry. Thanks. So Bhagavan starts this shloka with tasmat. Tasmat means therefore. So whenever Bhagavan Shri Krishna finishes a topic and then he says therefore, that means he's now summarizing and ending this topic. So tasmat, therefore, tvam, O you, Arjuna, indriyani adav. So indriyas, adav means in the beginning, niyamya, having controlled the senses. So first thing you do, control the senses. Niyamya. Bharatarshava. Bharatarshava is a very big compliment to Arjuna, because Bharata Rishabha. Rishabha means bull. So if somebody is calling you a bull, I'm not sure that would be considered a compliment. But the bull in the ancient India, because it was a predominantly agricultural society, so the bull was very important. Bull used to, plow the land, plow. They didn't have tractors in those days. Bull used to take bullock carts to the market to sell the grains, and also bull was a very important. And that's why even Jains, they have Rishabdev, who was their first Tirthankar. So Rishabh is a very complimentary term. So when he says you are the bull among the Bharata family, means you are the best among the Bharata family. So it is a compliment. So he says, having controlled the senses, who are they? Papmanam. They are sinful. They make us commit sin. So what do? Prajahi, destroy the senses. Destroy the desire that is arising in the senses. Enam means this kama, this desire which is residing in the senses. You don't destroy the senses, but you destroy the desire which is arising in the senses. And why should we destroy the desire? Jnana, Vijnana, Nashanam. Jnana is knowledge, Vijnana is wisdom. What is the difference between the two? We will talk about. Nashanam. So this desire not only destroys our knowledge, but also destroys our ignorance. So niyamya, niyamya means having controlled the senses. You have to control the senses. Do not let them run wild into whatever they want to do. Then in later shlokas, they will tell us how to better control the senses. But the word niyamya comes from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So the first two steps in yoga, in meditation, people say, oh, I want to meditate, I want to go into Samadhi. That's good, but Yama and Niyama are the first two steps. It's like person wants to go to medical school, he has to go through high school, undergrad, and then, go on to medical school or law or engineering or whatever. So same way, yama and niyama. Yama is cultivating noble values. So values like asteya, brahmacharya, not stealing, not possessing others, having self-control, ahimsa. So all these good values we have to develop. That is yama. And niyama is control of the senses, control of the mind. So Bhagavan is using this word that control your senses. And by this, what will happen is that it is a stepwise progression. You cannot again, then just as in the Patanjali Sutras, you go from yama, niyama, then asana, pranayam, exercises, and then pratyahar, withdrawal, dharana, firm, abidance in the truth. Then you can go to dhyana and samadhi. So same way in our life, as we control our senses, and how do we control our senses, as we had talked? By avoiding contact as much as possible, and even if there is contact, then use the mind to control the senses. And why papa? Because when I indulge in my senses, I overindulge and let the senses do whatever they want, let the mind do whatever it wants, then I end up doing wrong things. As Bhagavan says, anger, suppression of desire will create anger if I'm not able to get what I want. If I get what I want, then greed, jealousy, all those things will arise. In fact, today's message for the children is that to be happy in the happiness of others and be sympathetic in the sorrows of others. So that is how one can reduce. Otherwise, if somebody is successful, we become jealous. But if I can be happy in his joy, then I'm no longer jealous. I'm happy because he's doing well. So all the negativities get reduced, all the papas. And jnana and vijnana we had talked about. Jnana is knowledge, vijnana is wisdom. Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji explains to us that when I get knowledge of something, whether it's spiritual or worldly, knowledge from the teacher or from the books or the scriptures, that knowledge I understand. Okay, that is true. But then when I can put that knowledge into practice, that is vijnana. It's like I get a recipe, on the internet to make some new dish, some paneer and some, fancy dish like that. So that is knowledge when I get from the internet. But then when I actually collect the material and cook it, then that jnana becomes vijnana. So same way in spirituality, we get this knowledge from the scriptures, from the Bhagavad Gita, from Gurudev, from the teachers. But only when we put the knowledge into practice in our life, then only the knowledge is useful. Otherwise, it is just remains in the book. Just I have heard it, okay, it's very good, very good. But then when we leave, if we don't bring that knowledge and don't transform our life, see, transformation of our what I used to behave before, I should not. So that transformation is called Vijnanam. There's a very beautiful story about desire. Some of you may have heard it. It comes in the Srimad Bhagavat. It's a little long story, but it's nice one to tell. So there was this man named Atmadev. He was married to a woman called Dhunduli. Now Dhunduli, she was, as per her name, she fit exactly. She used to fight with everybody. She used to give him a hard time, constantly yell at him, scream at him. And not only that, with the neighbors, with nobody she would get along. But poor Atmadev had to just put up with it. What could he do? She was too strong for him. And also his bigger sorrow than this wife was that he didn't have a child. Even after many years of marriage, they didn't have a child, and he was so sad. He said, they believe that if your son doesn't do Shraddha, then your soul won't get moksha. He believed that I'll never get moksha. I have to have a son, and after many years, no son is born, so no child at all. So he decides to commit suicide. He said, I'm fed up with life. I don't want to live anymore. So he goes to the river. He's about to step in, and there is this Mahatma sitting on the side of the river meditating, and he opens his eyes and he says, what are you doing, son? Says, Maharaj, he bows down to them. He says, I'm fed up with life. I want to end my life. He says, why? He says, I don't have a son, and without son who doesn't do my Shraddha, I won't get moksha. So Mahatma says, well, you have it wrong. Yes, if the children do Shraddha, your soul will get peace of mind. But that cannot guarantee you moksha. The only way you get moksha is in this life you do good things, do good deeds. Then you will get moksha with the right knowledge. Shraddha is important for the peace of the souls, but not to give them moksha or enlightenment. That doesn't happen. That's a misunderstanding. So he tells him, he says, but doesn't matter. I'm going to kill myself because I don't have a son. I must have a son. He says, okay, Mahatma takes out a fruit from his jhola and gives it to him. He says, go give this to your wife. You will have a son. He's very happy. He bows down, goes home and gives the fruit to his wife Dhunduli. And he says, please eat this fruit. Now, Dhunduli didn't want a child. She didn't want her figure to be ruined and all her, beauty and all, because she was very proud about her looks. So she said, I'm not going to eat this fruit. So what she does quietly, she gives the fruit to the cow. We have a cow in the house, so cow eats the fruit. Now, but she has to produce a son. So her sister was pregnant. And sister already had many children, so she didn't want another child. So she said, you know what, I'll adopt your child. So the two of them quietly go to the father's house when the time for delivery. And the sister, and in the meantime, she's wearing appropriate clothes, so she looks pregnant. And they go there, and the sister gives the child to Dhunduli. So Dhunduli brings the child back and says, this is my son, I delivered him. And she names him Dhundukari. And Dhundukari was much worse than Dhunduli. He was a, Nelle Pedela. He used to steal money from the house. He was very arrogant. He used to, the children in the neighborhood, he used to beat them, throw them in the well, and all kind of, horrible things he used to do. He started stealing money from his house and, would go and spend it on useless things. And soon Dhundukari grew up, but his bad habits just kept getting worse. His cheating, his stealing, his lying, everything got worse. Atmadev finally couldn't take it anymore, So in the meantime, the cow had a boy and whose name was Gokarna, because even though he was born from a cow, he had cow's ears, but he was a human. because of the Mahatma's blessing. It was a human child, but with, cow ears. So they called him Gokarna. And this was Dundukari. So Gokarna says, Father, Gokarna was very wise from his childhood. He says, Father, you are so suffering, so unhappy. Why don't you go and take sannyas and 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 learn? And then he meets that Mahatma again, and Mahatma also advises him. So he takes sannyas, he meditates, and he gets free. He gets whatever he wanted. Now this Dhundukari is even more now, because father was little bit controlled. Father is gone. So then he started beating the mother, stole all her jewelry, sold everything, and got involved with prostitutes and all that. He was really bad. 5 prostitutes were whom he was involved with. And so mother is fed up, so she jumps in the well and commits suicide. So mother is gone, father is gone. Now he can do whatever he wants. So he invites the 5 prostitutes in his house, and whatever money they have, he spends everything on them, and they have become poor. So now he still has to take care of them because they are demanding. So he steals. He does a major robbery from the king's treasury. He happens to break in and steal. And now the police is after him. They want to know who. And these prostitutes are worried, because if he gets caught, will get caught. So they catch him and they kill him. Kill this Dundukari. And they run away. Now Dundukari doesn't get, his soul still is staying. He becomes a bhoot. He becomes a ghost, and he's roaming around. And one day Gokarna is sitting and he hears this voice. He says, "Is that you, Dundukari?" He says, "Yeah, it's me. But I'm a ghost and I can't leave this earthly plane because of all my sin, all the bad things I have done." So Gokarna says, brother, he calls him brother because they're born together in the same house. He said, I have a solution. So we'll do Bhagavad Saptah. So they do 7 days of Bhagavad Saptah, which has considered very great significance. And this ghost, Dhundukari, stays in the bamboo post. They have a bamboo post on the side, where they build that pandal. And so he stays in that bamboo post, and it has 7 knots, 7 K and OTS. And there he stays in there. And these 7 knots are Kama, Krodh, Mad, Moh, Lobh, Matsarya, Ajnana. So anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness, and ignorance. 7 knots. So each day when there's a Panditji who does the Swami who does the Bhagavad Saptah, and each day all the people he invites, all the neighbors and everybody and family and all, they all come and they all listen. But this Dhundukari is listening with much more attention because now he knows, this is my only solution to get out of this ghostly body. So he listens with full attention, and he decides to, that this is how I'm going to live my life. So each day 1 knot breaks. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Lobha, Matsarya, and Ajnana. And by the 7th day, the whole bamboo is shattered, and Dhundukari goes, and he's saved. And Gokarna, of course, finishes the Bhagavad Saptah, feeds everybody and all. So the moral of this story is that Atmadev is us, the Jiva. We are Atmadev. And Dhunduli is the wrong vision. If we are married to the wrong vision, that means we are married, means our intellect does not have the right vision of what to do, where to go. That is when all the problems arise. So what we have to do is get the right knowledge. But if a person doesn't have the right knowledge and the right vision, then what is born? Dhundukari. In our mind, all these negative tendencies, anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness, stealing, all those things are born. And only by remembering Bhagavan and surrendering to Bhagavan, we can get free. So that's what they say, that a person who has this much wrong desire, then the only solution is right knowledge, going to a Mahatma, to a Guru, surrendering. And that is the vision that one has to have of what is the vision of my life? Where am I going? What is the purpose? It's a very beautiful story which tells us the importance of right understanding and applying that knowledge in our life, which ultimately Atma Dev does after years of suffering. And in the Grihastha, then people say, well, should we not have any desires? Should we not have any? No, we say in Grihastha ashram, there is a method to exhaust desires. You want to buy things, you want to have a family, you want to have relationships, with the spouse. So all those things are there in Grihastha ashram. You can eat, you can, buy things, house, car, these things. But they all have to be done with moderation. So that is the Grihastha ashram. Grihastha ashram, first of all, Grihasthas are responsible for supporting society. Grihasthas not only support their children, take care of the children, but the seniors who are getting old. That is the job of Grihasthas, to take care of seniors and to take care of religious institutions, spiritual institutions, Mahatmas, sadhus. That's why we invite them to our home for bhiksha. So that is the Grihastha's duty. And while we are going through the life and the sense pleasures, it has to be done under moderation. That's why they say, four purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So artha and kama are required. You have to have wealth and you have to have some amount of pleasures, obviously. But they all have to be done under dharma. The right way, I have to acquire the knowledge. Right way, I have to acquire wealth, and right way, I have to enjoy it. And ultimately, as the children grow up and go, slowly our mind should go more towards moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, and the ultimate purushartha is moksha. And so that is how we grow. So that is the essence of this particular verse, that control the senses because they make you commit sinful activities. And we saw that beautiful story of Dundukari and how it's interesting how a person can go down, how much do. So we'll go to now shloka number 42, where it will tell us how to control the senses. You see, I want to control the senses, I want to control the mind, but how? So Bhagavan Sri Krishna doesn't only give the problem, but also gives the solution. Like if doctor gives you a medicine, he diagnoses the illness and gives you the medicine, and they say, oh, medicine is not available in this country, you have to go to another country and do this and that, and even then we're not sure if it's, then you tell the doctor, what use is that medicine? So same way, Bhagavan is giving us the problem and also giving us the medicine in shloka number 42. Indriyani paranyahuhu.
Indriyani paranyahuhu.
Indriyebhyah param manah.
Indriyebhyah param manah.
Manasastu para buddhihi.
Manasastu param buddhihi.
Yo buddhe paratastu saha.
Yo buddhe paratastu saha.
Indriyani paranyahuhu. Indriyebhyah param manah. Manasastu para buddhihi. Yo buddhe paratastu saha. So he has given us a stepwise ladder. It's a ladder of upward progression. And this shloka number 42 is a summary of two mantras from Kathopanishad. There are two mantras in the Kathopanishad which cover this topic, and Bhagavan has combined them into one shloka. So Indriyani. So Indriyani Parani, they are superior. Ahuhu, they say Indriyas are superior. Superior to what? Sense objects. So Indriyartha. So senses are superior to sense objects. How it is, we'll talk about. Then superior to the indriyas, to the senses, param, higher is manaha. So mind is superior to the senses. In senses are superior to the objects. Mind is superior to the senses. And greater than mana is buddhi. Intellect is superior to the mind. And then what is superior to the intellect? Yaha buddhehe paratastu saha. And buddhi, what is supreme? Saha. Saha means that. Saha means that Atma, that consciousness, that Om. So in this BMI chart, the sense organs are superior to the objects that's in the body. Then superior to the body is the mind, intellect, and superior to intellect is Om, the consciousness. So that is the hierarchy. That is how we go. And you take the support of one to go to the other, take the control of one. So what do we mean by support and what do we mean by control? Control the senses. Bhagwan had said in the previous sloka, niyamya, having control. So again, controlling the senses, as we have talked about, by making sure that my mind, my senses don't go in the wrong direction, seeing wrong things, hearing some gossip, speaking some wrong things, the organs of action or the sense organs, or going to wrong places, hands, feet, speech. So my sense organs and my organs of action should be restrained by the mind. And when the desire arises for eating something wrong or something like that, even speech, speaking something wrong, then the mind should control, okay, this is not right, you should not do that. So sense organs and organs of action are controlled by the mind. Now, how do we control the mind? Because the mind is the seat of likes and dislikes. So, as we even talked in the meditation this morning, identify with the Lord within, Bhagwan within, and see that Bhagwan everywhere outside. If I'm a Krishna Bhakta, everything is Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Bhagwan says, everything is Vasudeva, everything is that supreme being. Or when I say Shivoham, then I am not Shiva, but everyone is Shiva, everyone. So seeing that oneness in everybody, then slowly you reduce your likes and dislikes. I like this person, I don't like, our judgmental mind. Our mind has two aspects, as we talked about. The functional mind that teaches me how to work in the world, and judgmental mind, which judges, I like this person, I don't like this, my friend, my enemy. So we reduce our judgmental mind and pay attention to the functional mind, that is me. Then how do we control the intellect? By being a witness, by watching the witness and feeding the intellect with good ideas, good thoughts. Like somebody asked, person had two dogs and they used to fight. So he says, somebody asks him, which dog wins? He says, the dog I feed more, that dog wins. So same way in our mind, we have good and bad, two different tendencies. So whichever we feed more, if we feed the intellect with good thoughts, good desires, then the goodness will prevail. If we put in our intellect wrong ideas, wrong desires, then the wrong will win. So having the right knowledge teaches me, and then finally the intellect is controlled by Om, by Bhagwan. So by the spiritual values that have been given to us by Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, by the gurus, and by Bhagwan Sri Krishna and all that. So with that, we control the intellect. And for that, we have to have right understanding of what I am listening and what I am talking. Right knowledge I should have. Talking about right knowledge, this couple had been married for just 6 months. And the man comes home and the wife is happy. He says, darling, I have good news. So he says, what good news? She says, well, we are two. Soon we will become three. He says, oh, we will become three. He's so happy. He jumps and he hugs her and he laughs and he's just, wonderful. will be 3. She says, yeah, I'm glad you are so happy. What I meant was my mother will be moving in with us next week. She will move in with us permanently. So, so, so it's important to have the right knowledge, before you start getting. So same way in our life also, in our spiritual life, we have to have the right knowledge and realize the value of what we have in this body. Somebody was very unhappy and he was ready to commit suicide, another one. And he goes to this Mahatma and says, I'm so poor, I have no money, I want to commit suicide. Mahatma says, you know what, don't commit suicide. You have 2 eyes, right? Mahatma says, give me the 2 eyes. I'll have my devotee give you $20,000. Give me your 2 eyes. No, 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 no. I can't give up my eyes for 20,000. No. Okay, give me your one hand or the other hand. Each one I'll give you 25,000. Oh, no, no, no. I can't give up my hands. I can't give up my legs. He says, when you add all that, you have more than $100,000, your hands, your legs, your eyes. So realize the value of what you have and utilize it well. Don't, just waste it and come. So that is what the value of these senses are, and the mind and the intellect. When it is directed rightwards, we can accomplish a lot. And just as when suppose you want to contact the president of the country, right? So what do? Directly, you cannot approach the president, but you find out who is close to the president. Say one of my senators or congressmen is close to the president. So what do? I make donations to him in his election and then become friends and then tell him, I would like to meet the president. I have some business with him. Can you help me? So he says, sure, you have donated so much. With money, you can buy anything. So, so he takes you to the president, but then once you are there, then he steps out because now you have a confidential meeting with the president, whoever introduced you. So same way, the intellect is the one that is closest to Atma. So when you want to reach Atma, when you want to reach God within, you start with the intellect. So in our meditation, what do? We slowly withdraw from the senses to the mind and then control the mind with the intellect. And with that intellect, with the right knowledge, it takes you to the Lord within. But then there you have to drop the intellect also, just as that senator, he can only take you there, himself cannot go in. So the intellect cannot take us to the highest. But when we meditate in that silence of meditation, we become one with that inner truth. That truth reveals itself. So that is the process of meditation. So from the lower, you go to the higher. So you control the senses. I hear, see, smell, taste, touch, ignore all that. When the mind wanders here and there, you control that with the intellect. When the intellect doesn't have the right knowledge, you feed it the right knowledge, and then ultimately the intellect will take us. And the scriptures, of course, the intellect has to be guided by the scriptures, will take us to the truth. So that is what he says. So indriyani, so then the sense organs are superior to the objects because the senses can decide what I should see, what I should hear, smell, taste, touch. So the senses are superior to the objects, mind, intellect, and then Saha, that Bhagavan, that Lord within. And this is explained beautifully in Kathopanishad. So here we have summarized these 2 mantras. Now the last one for today, for the chapter 3, is number 43. Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam evam buddhe param buddhva Samstabhyatmanam jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. So each word we will translate. Evam, in this way. So Bhagavan is saying, whatever I have taught you in the third chapter, evam, in this way, and especially in the last couple of shlokas, buddhehe param buddhva. Then the buddhi, what is superior to the buddhi? Param is saha, that Lord, consciousness, that Om. So buddhva, having known that which is param, which is superior to the intellect. So first discover what is that Atma, the self, the consciousness that is superior to the intellect. Determining that, and what do you do? Samstabhya, having controlled Atmanam Atmana. So control the Atma by the Atma. So what do we mean by Atma by the Atma? See, in Bhagavad Gita, the word Atma is, as we said, it talks about the body, it's the mind. Sometimes he talks about intellect as Atma, sometimes the self, sometimes as Jiva. So we have to know what the reference is. So here when Bhagavan says control the Atma by the Atma, what he means is control the intellect, control the mind by the intellect, and the intellect by the self, by the highest knowledge. And then what does he say? Controlling the mind by the intellect and recognizing what is superior to the intellect. Jahi Shatrum, destroy the enemy. Mahabaho, O great warrior. So Arjuna, he says, you are a great warrior. You have won many battles. Now is the time for you to destroy the enemy within, which is desire. Kama Rupam, which is of the nature of desire, and Durasadam, and it is very difficult to conquer. So to conquer desire is not easy, but having the right knowledge from the scriptures, you control the mind, the senses, and destroy this enemy called desire. So what is the process? So first of all, they say it requires perseverance. You have to have persistence, patience, because all of a sudden, it's not going to happen that things will suddenly get better. It's like we have been living in a particular way for maybe, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And then suddenly, people say, oh, I have been meditating for 6 months and nothing has happened. It is 60 years of ignorance. It's not going to go away. Or I have been listening to Bhagavad Gita for 1 month and nothing has happened. It requires time. I remember one lady told us, me and Neeru, she says, why do you keep going to these lectures to listen to these swamis? So what do they tell you? So Neeru said, they tell us, who am I? What am I? That's what they tell us, these Upanishads. She said, why do you need to keep going? I went to a weekend course and I paid, $800 and they told me you are that. So I know I am that. So why do you need to keep going to these swamis for these lectures? We think in a weekend course we will learn. It takes not to be discouraged, but anything takes time. Medical school takes what, 20, 25 years. By the time you graduate from medical school, it's 24, 25 years. Engineering, law, any career, it takes time. So spirituality also, we have to be patient with ourselves, but we have to be consistent, like a child wanting to get to medical school and graduate, or a law college, like a prestigious, he has to work hard or she has to study. So same way in spirituality, we have to persevere, we have to work hard. You say, well, then there are examples of some people who didn't do much. Raman Maharishi, by the age of 6 or 7, he was already meditating, going into samadhi. Shankaracharya ji, by 4 or 5, he was composing hymns and writing commentaries. That is because of pre-existing. Because in previous birth, they have done all that. So Bhagavan says, wherever you are in this life, in the 6th chapter, he says, wherever you give up the body, I make sure that the knowledge stays with you and you continue it. And that's how the ignorance can be removed. Ignorance can only be removed by right knowledge. And another thing they say is give up the ego, the I. They say ego is a big bore. A person who all the time talks about himself. I am this, I am that, I have done this, I have done. After a while, you don't want to go near that guy because you say he's a boring fellow all the time. He only talks about I, me, and my. So reduce this ego, and that's what I think I mentioned in the third Thursday class. There is a lot of me between me and God. See, between me, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, and God is this ego, I. So this I has to be reduced, this ego that I, first of all, whenever any accomplishment, you're thankful to Bhagwan. Because of him, I have done. And every activity we are doing, speaking, listening, walking, talking, is because of God's presence. If God was not there, everything I have, every ability I have, my ability to think, my ability to talk, everything comes from Him. So who am I? What have I done? So always be grateful and always surrender to Bhagwan. Because in life, problems will come. Like what they most important is that have a goal, clear goal, that in this lifetime, my goal is I will reach enlightenment. You can say, well, I don't think I will. No, that is my goal. Yeah, if I reach, very good. If I don't, at least I will have progress to that point where next life Bhagavan will continue. But generally, they say enlightenment and only happen in the now. So don't ever say that next life. In this life itself, because I already have the knowledge. Bhagavad Gita, I have Swami Chinmayananda's commentaries, I have Bhagwan himself has revealed this knowledge. Upanishads, we have every Tuesday, we have, class on Upanishads and Ramayana. So all these knowledge is freely available on the internet, on YouTube and everywhere. So all we have to do is apply this knowledge and everyone can reach that because essentially we are all divine. We are already there. If you say, where is God? God is not somewhere in heaven or in Kailash or in Vaikuntha, and he's within me. All you have to do is find him within. He's already there. All we have to do is shift our attention. That's why in the Upanishad it says, Paranchi Khani Vyatrinath Swayambhu Tasmat paran pashyati nantaratmana kaschid dhira atmanam vaikshat avrita chakshu amritatvam icchan. So he says, Paranchi Khani, the Brahmaji made the sense organs to look out. So we look for happiness outside. Don't look within. But very rare is the dhira who seeking immortality looks within and finds truth within, finds happiness within, finds God's within. And so that one should do daily introspection that what have I done today? In today's day, have I progressed spiritually or not? Every day, then every Sunday evening, that during this week, what did I do to get closer to God on 31st of the month and December 31st? Introspect. What did I do today? What did I do this week, this month, this year? See, our thing is we spend a lot of time in the body's journey. For the body, I want to have friends, I want to have family, children, house, car, money, and that is all required. Body's journey is essential. And, success in the business, in stock market, real estate, everywhere we want to be successful. And body's journey is good, but if you're only doing the body's journey and your soul hasn't progressed towards the truth, towards Om, then that is a total waste. So that's what they say, that I have to see what has been my soul's journey. My body's journey, everybody works for, even animals work for, birds also. They build a house, they get married, they have family, children, they teach them to fly. Body's journey is good and we require, but more important is, has my soul, my subtle body progressed towards God or not? And that is what we have to look every day, every week, every month. And if the soul's journey is successful, then our life is successful. Even we may not have reached that enlightenment, but at least I have progressed in that direction. And then applying this knowledge, it is possible to get it in this life itself, now itself. We don't have to postpone to some future life. So that is what he says. This enemy called desire can be conquered by controlling it and directing it towards God. So we'll end this 3 verses where we have studied today, that control the senses, and control the senses, which are creating papa, creating sin in our life, and covering our wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom both are covered. And then the hierarchy, how the senses are superior to the object. So you decide what I'm going to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Then control the senses by the mind so they don't run around. Control the mind by the intellect. And finally, the intellect by seeking refuge in Bhagavan, that is God within. And once you do that, then you are on your path. And always pay attention to where have I progressed in my spiritual journey. In this week, did I do anything for that? In this month, in this year? So constant, and even in the daytime, today, did I do anything? Introspect. And as long as my soul's journey is in the right direction, I am doing good. Of course, body we have to take care of. Body's journey is essential, but that alone should not be our goal. That's what this message of. And then this 3rd chapter is, the entire chapter is called Karma Yoga, where Bhagavan teaches us how to do karma. Yoga means connected with Bhagavan. So all my actions should connect me to Bhagavan. And that, as we have studied many times, what is Karma Yoga? Is doing actions unselfishly, dedicated to the Lord, without I, me, and my, and benefiting others. So unselfish actions benefiting others, without I, me, and my, and surrendering to Bhagavan. That is true Karma Yoga. So we'll end here. And we'll just chant the closing Sankalpa Vakya, and I'll just do the word by word meaning of that. And then we have time for comments. Om Tat Sad Iti. You can repeat. Om Tat Sad Iti. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su.
Upanishatsu.
Upanishatsu.
Brahma Vidyayam.
Brahma Vidyayam.
Yoga Shastre.
Yoga Shastre.
Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade.
Krishna Arjuna Samvade.
Karma Yogo Nama.
Karma Yoga Nama.
Tritiyo Dhyayaha.
Tritiyo Dhyaya.
So I'll just give the word by word meaning of this Sankalpa Vakya. This was added by Madhusudan Saraswati ji. After each chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he adds this Sankalpa Vakya, so that it tells us that the chapter is over and the new chapter is starting, and kind of summarizes what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. So Om, Tat, and Sat. Om is, of course, Supreme Lord Consciousness. Tat means that. That means that supreme reality which we think as far away is also here. Sat, that is essence, that is truth, that is my true nature. So Om, that which I think is far away, is Sat, is the truth, is the reality. Iti, in this way. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So Srimad means the esteemed or the most revered Bhagavad Gita. That's why we worship. Ambatvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. We say that in the Gita Dhyanam, that Bhagavad Gita, you are the mother, I bow down to you, and it is because of you that I am getting this knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is Srimad. It is very esteemed, very worshipful. And what is the Bhagavad Gita? Upanishatsu. It is an Upanishad. Bhagavad Gita, each chapter is like an Upanishad, which gives the highest knowledge of who I am. So that's why Upanishads too, in the Upanishad, and where it is a Brahma Vidyayam. So this knowledge is called Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means the supreme knowledge. So in the book, in this Bhagavad Gita, in this supreme knowledge called Brahma Vidya, which is not only the knowledge, but Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra means in the practical application. So one is Brahma Vidya, I get the knowledge from Bhagwan and from Puja Gurudev. And then how do I practice that? That is Yoga Shastra. So as we had said, knowledge and then its application. So all that has been explained in this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan has given us the highest knowledge of the Upanishads. He has summarized the Upanishads in the Bhagavad Gita. And then give us the practical means of applying this knowledge. And where did we get this? Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Sri Bhagwan Sri Krishna and Arjuna in that dialogue between the two, as you have even behind me, we see the dialogue between Bhagwan and Arjuna. So it is because of Arjuna and because of Bhagwan Sri Krishna that I have this knowledge. And what is the name of this chapter? Karma Yoga Nama. The name of this chapter is Karma Yoga. We talked about what Karma Yoga is. And Tritiyodhyaya, it is the third chapter. So we'll end the third chapter here today. We have, if anybody has questions, comments, please feel free to join, either in person or in Zoom. I would request everybody to comment or to talk about it. Yeah, we have everybody on gallery view also on Zoom. So you can unmute, or even in person if somebody would like to. I don't know where is the mic. We didn't bring the mic. If whoever talks can talk a little loud. I think today we don't have the mic. Amit maybe didn't get it. I didn't check. But just loudly if somebody would like to ask a question or make a comment. Krishna, you have anything or anybody else?
I think, I can only say this is Krishna.
You can come closer here. Maybe you can talk on this mic. And anybody else wants to add anything, please come up.
Hari Om, this is Krishna. Today, what I learned is in verse 41. So Krishna says, control your senses to basically control the desires. And in 42, the hierarchy is first the senses are superior to the body, and the mind is superior to the senses, and intellect is superior to the mind, and intellect is like a witness. Right? So we feed all the good things to the intellect and become stronger through scriptures, coming to Bhagavad Gita classes, then doing meditation. And ultimately, the soul or Atman is the reality, ultimate reality. And 43, verse 43 says that the intellect, the highest, the Krishna says to Arjuna, use your highest intelligence, the buddhi, to conquer the mind and the senses so that you can go away with the desires. That way you can achieve the ultimate reality or the Atman. That's what I learned today.
Thank you.
And
very good.
Something hilarious is when Anil was talking about how to meet a president. I was just reading about yesterday. I guess it's something unique, this president. I was just reading, like, you can have a candlelight dinner with a lot of people along with president for $1 million, and you can have one-to-one candlelight dinner in Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
for $5 million.
Thank you. That's true. That's what is happening. Anybody else? Satish Bhai, you have any comment?
Well,
Or anybody else also, please feel free to add.
We talked about, you talked about the two journeys, and we recently talked about that in the Thursday night as well. That the Sharir Yatra, the body, and the Atma's journey. I think the body's yatra, it happens automatically. It's it is from our prarabdha karma as well as our
Right.
instincts, right? Natural instinct. But we have to be intentional about our jiva yatra, the Atman. That yatra, we have to be very intentional about it. And put all our faculties directed to it. Otherwise, our life is pretty much spent uselessly.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Would you like? Or anybody else in the hall here, please? And then I would like to hear from Zoom also, please, people after this.
This is Aaron. Regarding the perseverance, I watched one of the YouTube. Okay, so it's hard to meet the perseverance, but what they're saying, just spend 1% every day. For example, if you want to complete one book, it's not possible. We can complete the book every day, but if you spend 1% every day, so that keeps on build up, and one day we are in the position to complete that. So that's what I learned recent one, but I could see the perseverance. So regarding the soul journey, so that's what I'm trying to do right now. Every day, just 1%. If you make 1% progress on every day, that keeps for sure. I think we can try to achieve whatever the journey. The really soul's journey, that's what I think I need to do. I need to do moving forward. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so perseverance, and each day we progress, the more we progress. That's very well said. Thank you. Anybody on Zoom? Anybody else in the hall, in the audience, or otherwise on Zoom? Would you like to say anything? One more, and then we'll ask the people on Zoom. We have more time today. I finished. We only had 3 shlokas.
Hari Om, everybody. What I can say today is one of a challenging day for me. And I think perseverance is something that I thought I had, and it seems like I have to do more of it lately, especially today. And I don't know if I'm growing in insightfulness, but lately I've been experiencing people projecting ego, and I've realized that I don't do well with that. So my definition of perseverance is basically saying I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself so I don't expose myself to such negativity. And I think that today's teaching really got me to think about increasing my introspection each day. Hari Om.
Thank you. About Vanita, anything? Anyone else? Okay, on Zoom, please. Anyone? Kusum, Lata, anything you would like to add? Anyone else? Kusum, you have any comments? You can't unmute? Or can you call Amit?
Okay, now I could unmute.
Tell him it's okay. Tell him it's okay.
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I could thank you for a beautiful discourse, and I just wanted to add what Pujya Gurudev says in self-unfoldment. He gives a powerful formula for this self-unfoldment, like he said, perseverance and everything. And you also mentioned that introspect daily. Gurudev gave 4 things: that introspect daily and detect diligently whatever we have. We have to be very diligent in detecting if I didn't do correct or I did it correct. Third one, he said, eliminate ruthlessly eliminate bad things or negativities. And the fourth is substitute wisely whatever good values and everything, and grow steadily. Then only this unfoldment will happen. And this vasanas, because then we'll be doing karma yoga, and karma yoga decreases the vasana pressures, which is the V on the board that you have the chart. The V is the vasanas, which is the ignorance. So once doing karma yoga, the vasanas will be decreased, the pressures of vasana will be decreased, and will be going closer to Om. And that's how, because vasana is the seat where we have the desires, seed is in the vasanas, which goes through the intellect as a desire, through the mind it will go as a thought, and as through the body, it will go as an actions. So we have to reverse this cycle and go meet with the self, which is Om. And that's only will happen with karma yoga, as you described beautifully what karma yoga is. So I think that daily introspection is so very important for us to grow, and self-effort, as Satish Bhai mentioned it. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie, you have a question or comment?
Well, kind of maybe a comment. I really like the analogy of the ladder for how to get closer to Brahman. And we were just, in our Thursday group, we were talking about a ladder, and Sneha posted a really nice kind of a ladder going up. And I was thinking, there are, with ladders, maybe you could have a step stool, and you kind of go up two rungs and you can reach the lower level in the cupboard or something. But it's like I'm thinking that it would be really useful for me if I made a chart and just put it up on my wall and like filled in more rungs on the ladder, because it's like the one that was in Vajagovindam, it started with satsang, and it moved up, going through these different desires and anger and jealousy, and moving up and up with wisdom, with knowledge. And then this one started more with using the overcoming the senses, and with the mind, and then with the buddhi, and moving up. And I just really like your discussion of the ladder, and I like Sneha's visual of that. And I just want to thank you. You've really explained these, how, way back when you talked about, well, why do we do things that we don't really want to do? And identifying those things and moving up and out, past those different things, past the enemy, which starts with desire. So anyway, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Lata, you have
Yeah, I had wanted a little clarification on the 5 points that Kusumji brought about. The first one was introspection. Second was detect diligently. Third was eliminate. Fourth was substitute wisely. And the fifth was grow steadily. I have a question on the third one, eliminate. Is that possible to eliminate vasanas completely? Or would that be when you substitute with good thoughts and satsang that Kerry brought about, that the third point, the elimination will slowly happen? Would you kindly clarify that, please?
Go ahead, Kusum.
Yes, Lataji, you're right. Elimination is the hardest thing to happen, and we have to do it ruthlessly. So there is no choice in that. Substitute wisely the good values and everything. And other thing also, Gurudev said that when you have the goal higher than lower, then it will be easier. But if you have a lower goal, then elimination will be very hard to do that. And you would not be able to substitute good values wisely. So I think the goal has to be really high, which will help us to eliminate the lower things.
Even at the end of this last sloka, he says, vasanas are so hard to overcome. And in
Yes,
transactional life that we live, it just is a big obstacle to us. But substitution, as you said, is the important point. Thank you.
Karma yoga will decrease the vasana pressure and will have less likes and dislikes. Rag and dvesh, if you decrease, that also will make us easily eliminate a lot of things and substitute good things. So that's
Thank
the
you.
most important thing, to decrease the vasana pressure through the karma yoga, which we learned it so
Very
in
nicely.
detail.
Exactly.
Thank you. See, the vasanas, I built them up. Nobody else gave me the vasanas. I came with them because, so if I had built it, I am the one who has to break it. It is very difficult, then, it's you're surrendering to that. I am the one who created something, so I can destroy it. That's another way to think about vasanas.
That's a great way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom? Any comments, questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have any questions.
Go ahead.
I just want to thank you for the beautiful lecture that you gave and explain everything. Thank you again.
Thank you, Umaji. Thank you for logging in. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I was listening to, removing vasanas and everything, so I got a thought. There's a book by Daniel Kahneman. He's a Nobel Prize in economics and behavioral science, I guess. So in 2002, he wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow, meaning that he is called as the grandfather of behavioral sciences. So thinking fast is every day this is very frequent. People do think illogically. People do think emotionally. People do think irrationally. These are coming from some kind of unconscious mind. Thinking slow is something which is logical, with clarity, with more using intellect. So I kind of see that, I guess there is some kind of a vasanas coming, we bring with our soul, and also the brain is also programmed certain way where we can overcome with this teachings, what I saw today, the hierarchy things, ultimately if we realize that, the Om or the consciousness of the soul is the supreme. So I guess we can overcome the body, senses, the mind, and all these desires.
Thank you.
It's a good book if people want to read it. It gives a.
What is the name?
Thinking Slow and Thinking Fast.
Thinking Slow and Thinking Fast. Thank you. Okay, we'll end. See you next week. We'll begin chapter 4. Bhagavan will take us further on this, what he call karma sannyas, how to give up the doership in 4th and 5th chapter. Bhagavan will take us further beyond karma yoga. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shtoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and for your beautiful comments. Thank you.